what are you doing for our community? What do you care? There she goes. Hey,
Hi,
Miss.
how are you?
I'm wonderful. This is Miss Ashley Gibbs, ladies and gents.
Good afternoon.
Comes to us as a friend of the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, Ash, give us a little, 30-second rundown about your powerhouse and how you that girl.
Well, I'm the CEO of Silver Bull Management Group, which is a supportive housing company here in New York City. We provide housing for special needs housing as well as anything that is considered needed in terms of the housing space. Where I'm also the CEO and communications director for Blue Ninja Media Group, which represents a ton of powerhouses here in the United States. Jania, I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show today, and I look forward to diving right into these topics. The political realm is insane, and there's so much to talk about. So let's go.
You didn't hear me talking about you a little earlier. I talked about you behind your back. You didn't hear me yet.
Oh, you talked about me behind my back?
I was telling the audience about you. I said she gonna act like she Republican, but you really on the fence.
Oh my God.
No, I said that. Let me say why I said that and what I told the audience as well. I said that you are the today's voter, right?
Yep.
The today's voter that feels some type of way where that looks good, but this feels better, right?
Right.
And so tell us about that. Tell us about how you feel about the election process right now. So-called black woman running as the vice for presidency, right? You got Trump, who we've had. Tell us how you feel.
I have a lot of mixed emotions with this political season, right? Because we started out with a candidate that we just knew wasn't able to fulfill the duty, right? And that's on the Democratic side. And just to be clear, that's Joe Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the switch off was a little bit unfair to the Republican Party because it's like, how do you just switch up the candidate in the middle of a season? That's a little bit debatable, but we're past that. So we got to move forward. We can't stay stagnant. Now we have a candidate who has accepted the nomination, and we have to deal with what she has to offer. Now, has she offered us anything that is executable? That's still up in the air, right? But at the same time, I want to jump over to the Republicans. Yes, I am a Republican registered, but I still have a lot of questions. What is really the executable plan on the Republican side? There's a lot of controversy between the two candidates in terms of name calling and being, just negative towards one another, but we're not getting to the real issues. The real issues is what is at hand, and that is not being addressed, nor on either side, right? And we're making this a big party, not only from the Democratic side, we're making it a big party on the Republican side. We need to get down and dirty and address the real issues that the American people need to hear. That's where we are, and that's where we should be going. It's so many other little, things that are interfering in the election that has so many people saying, I don't even want to vote. I don't even want to be involved.
Right.
Like, this is nonsense, right? So
and that's what they want us to do too. We have to put that into perspective, is that they want a group to not vote, right? Because that they don't have to count. But go ahead.
Right. So, just with that being said, do I like Kamala? I like Kamala because I do feel like she did every single step it takes to get to this position. I do feel that. And that just has to be addressed. I don't care if you don't like her. You've got to give credit where credit is due. Is she black? We're not going to ever question anybody's heritage because we do know that her father is Jamaican. I don't care if his mother, is a white woman, so-called. We don't know what their ancestry is really, right? Have you done any blood tests? So we got to stop questioning that.
Know that.
We got to stop questioning that. That's irrelevant at this point. Let's get to the real nitty gritty. What is she going to do? How is she going to execute it? I like the little topics that she came up with. That's not enough. Where's the real economics conversations? Trump has those. That's one thing that I give him. He's an economic kind of guy, right? He knows about money. He knows about big business. But the way he comes off is very brash. He has a lot of circumstances behind him that people feel is like I don't know. It gives you that aha moment. Like maybe that's not somebody I want to deal with. But then do you question everybody in America who are going through different issues? So you have to look at all the tables that are turning. It's not just, one-sided. I do feel like the Democrats have a little bit of an edge right now because Trump is, I don't know, I feel like he's a little bit flustered. I feel like he continues to allow them to get him to a place where he speaks and it comes off wrong. And of course, the media is going to spin everything the way they need it to be spun, right? So, just with that being said, that's how a lot of individuals in America are feeling. We don't feel like the real issues are being addressed for the average American person. Maybe for the rich, and maybe for the under-resourced, because I want to say the right words. Maybe for the under-resourced, people who are getting insulin, people who are interested in inflation being lowered. I think that's around the board. I mean, even if you're rich or poor.
Let me ask you a question as you say that. So when we say, maybe it's for the underserved in the community, where and I hear you saying that you're not served, but do you understand that you're in that position where you don't need to be underserved, you don't need to be overserved, but I need to be served, right? And so do you understand that you're in that position that maybe not even getting any outreach or anybody reaching out to you to say, hey, we're talking to you? Does that say that he, like, when you go to church, the pastor talking to me today, right? But do you feel like the politicians are doing that for you?
Well, I feel like that comes from a long journey, to be honest. Like, we've been doing this since inception. Everybody's running a campaign, right? So they're going to say what they need to say to get people to adhere to the polls, really, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't speak to me personally, nor does it speak to a lot of my colleagues, right? Because I'm a small business owner and I want to understand, like, why does it take so much to be a small business owner when that's supposed to be the American dream? Why does it take so much to buy a property if my credit is in shambles because I have a small business and I'm not able to meet all my bills? That's why my credit is in shambles. Not mine personally, but in general, right? So there are resources out here in America for small businesses and for working people, but they don't even know about half of them because they're not privy to where they're located or how to even access them. And those are the things that need to come to the forefront. We need more programming that is really accessible. We don't need to put money with nonprofits that don't do anything for our communities. We need money with the people who are really on the ground, who touch the ground, and who can really make a difference. And that's from either side. That's from either side. I don't care if it's Democratic or Republican. It's either side, right? And now that we have RFK coming in the poll and he's now contributed towards the Trump campaign, I think that the Democrats have a problem because some of the issues that RFK has pointed out is a lot of the issues that the Democratic Party has come to the table with. And that is a problem because if Trump is smart, he will sit down and go over these issues with RFK and come up with a real plan. Not 2025, even if he's involved. If he's not involved, that's still shaky. We don't know if that's real. Who cares? Let's get to what is real, right? Come up with 2025 Plan G, right? Name it something else and come up with what it really should be saying if you're not involved, right? And the Democratic Party should be doing the same thing. You guys should be calling it the Harris GGT. Who cares? Just come up with what it's going to really be and how is it executable. Stop giving me bullet points. How are you going to roll it out?
Well, okay, but we only got 70-something days. And Trump does have a 20-point plan. There's 2 points on the plan that I like. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. They're all good. But is rebuilding cities. Now, you are a housing guru, real estate all over the country.
Right.
And when we talk about rebuilding cities, tell me what goes into that. What would Trump have to say to you to really make that stick and really make you feel good about that?
Well, Trump already started the process with the opportunity zones. He already put that in the street. right? So now what are you going to do? How are you going to build on that? Are you going to give our people tax incentives? And not just the blacks. Like, I don't like that we segregate everybody, the blacks, the Hispanics, the Caucasians, the Asians. A person is a person. Whoever can really get the job done for me is the person, right? I do want more for our people as African Americans because I am a black woman of West Indian descent. But at the end of the day, I still work with other.
With the black woman up for debate, but go ahead.
I'm a black woman of West Indian descent.
You want to be a black woman.
I am a black woman with West Indian
descent.
You
want to be a black woman.
This is hilarious, but I've never heard anybody say I'm not a black woman. I'm definitely a black woman. But with that being said, I do feel like Trump has to come to the table with more tax incentives for developers so that they're able to build. I do feel like they should be given some of the work money as a loan and not make the process so difficult to obtain, right? Because when you're going to be a developer, it's a lot that is entailed in that process. And you could do tax incentives, but then how am I going to get the money to do the work? Okay?
Right.
We need to offer jobs. How do we offer jobs if we can't pay people? Right? We can't wait to pay someone after they put the work in. That does not work. People have families to tend to and take care of. And that goes for the Democratic Party as well. Yes, 300,000 new homes for people to live in. Okay, that's great. And you want to give them 25,000 down on the property, but I need you to get more into what that really looks like, right? I need you to get into $25,000 down on a property. If your credit is still not in a good space, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get the damn deal, right? You're not going to get it. It's just never going to happen. And those things are not being said.
So how do we make them all work at the same time? Because I think that's what we need to do in our communities is that we get one, peanut butter, no jelly, right? Kool-Aid, no sugar. How do we get all those things together?
We need to go back to the stated verified income type of deals that we had during the boom. And yes, we had the housing crash. I was definitely involved. I was a young woman. I definitely didn't understand what was going on at that time, but I 100% understand what's going on now. Those programs are available to developers and business owners currently who are in the real estate space. Right. And with that being said, I feel like that should be offered to any American who can really prove that they still work. OK, and that they have the eligibility of the other guidelines that need to be included, such as you need 2 years to have a credit card, which is a 24 months. You need 0 by 30 on your current rent statement from the property that you rent. You need a letter from your landlord saying that you have been paying your rent on time. You also can get referrals or letters of recommendation from your current employer saying that you have been doing a great job at your current job and you are looking forward to being there for much longer. These are the things that we had prior. Yes, we do need to show that you can make the down payment, but please, I could get a gift. I could go get somebody to give me $25,000 and put it down on a property, but that doesn't mean anything because can I still pay my mortgage at the end of the day after I get my $25,000 down payment with inflation at an all-time high? No. So that stuff, what to me
is Jedi mind trick in it.
Right.
Yeah.
That to me doesn't make any sense, but that's because why? I'm in the business. I'm knowledgeable. I understand what is being said. How many people don't understand what is being said?
Well,
it sounds good.
Problem.
It looks like a party. Patti LaBelle, everybody, yay! It's amazing. Listen, like my sister told me, they upped the ante from the RNC, right? And I get it. It's a play-by-play, right? But at the end of the day, you still never came up with the solutions. It was only bullet points.
And the thing is, I think people are scared of the solutions because they know how to make the money, right? And so at the end of the day, if we follow the money, that's where we're going with this. We've got this war in Israel. We got this war in Ukraine. And, we've got all kinds of money going all kinds of spaces. And then they're asking us to take our tax money, pay for the migrants, pay for the Ukrainian war, pay for all these wars, but get nothing for ourselves. So I just believe that with Trump, we have an opportunity to make a difference for ourselves. And it's not so much about jumping on and, Trump is the great white hope. It's not that.
No.
It's the fact that he's willing to work outside of the box of what traditions in America are usually that they are and that they're not. And so because of that, we're going to look to see how the American people feel. It's very important for everybody to get on board and be on board. And shout out to Billy McFarland and the whole crew that just released the Trump song On Board by Kodak Black and Fabio Foreign. So we are out there. We are ready to do this work. We got another, let's just say 60 days, people, 2 months to determine what our next 4 years looks like, maybe even 8. So let's do the right thing by America. Let's be strong and let's focus. This is your host, Jania Butler of the New American Perspective on Millennium News 24, and I will see you next week.